Romano's office line rang while she was wolfing down a chocolate-frosted donut and pouring herself an ice-filled glass of Diet Coke. The fizzing soda melting over the ice cubes was a sound made in heaven, especially when she was overbooked and underpaid, which described most days. Scratch that. Every day. "Can we finish this conversation later, Mom?" she said, leaving the First Lady's office while her mother pored over the details of a fundraising party scheduled in a few weeks. The governor's mansion cook had brought brunch, including the homemade donuts. Mrs. Harvey knew Chloe's favorites were the pastries that boasted at least 1,000 calories each, which she should apply directly to her hips. "Come back when you're finished, darling," Diana Romano said. "This paperwork for the Romanian orphanage has to be done by tomorrow." Orphanages and adoptions, anything to do with children, were the First Lady's passion and life's work, and Chloe often pitched in to help with fundraisers or visits to the children's hospital. In an attempt to grab the still-ringing telephone, she dashed across the floor to the tiny anteroom. It was originally a closet, just big enough to hold a small desk and chair. When Chloe was at the governor's mansion, she had her calls forwarded from her apartment to this office. She kept her cell phone line private, only giving out the number for clients under contract. "Breakfast of champions," she murmured in ecstasy as she downed the last bite of chocolate. Chloe managed not to fall into a sugar coma when she snatched up the landline and darted a quick glance at the caller ID, which read Mercedes Romano. Mercedes Romano? Why in the world would she be calling? She hadn't spoken to her cousins since Grandpa Tony's funeral almost a year ago. The days of family reunions petered out when all the cousins reached adulthood and spread across the eastern seaboard. Instead, they relied on the month of August for family reunions and indulging in their former teenage pastimes of sunbathing at Myrtle Beach while eating cherry snow cones and boy-watching. Growing nostalgic for a real vacation, Chloe quickly said, "Undercover Bridesmaid, Chloe Romano speaking." "Chloe, is that you?" Mercedes' voice came through ever so slightly British and cultured. "The one and only." Chloe swallowed a gulp of her soda and grabbed for a napkin. Even though her father was in his second term as the governor of South Carolina, Mercedes had a knack for making Chloe feel like she was wearing overalls and chewing on a wad of tobacco. "This is Mercedes, your cousin," she said, as if putting on airs. Chloe laughed. "You're the only person I know with perfect diction and a slight English accent, even though you're not British." "I did an internship in London for my MBA," Mercedes retorted. Chloe suppressed a smile. "Blame my despicable lack of memory. So, how are you? To what do I owe this unexpected phone call?" "Is this new business of yours genuine? Do you really hire yourself out as a bridesmaid?" "Sounds crazy, but yep, I actually do." "People pay you money to walk down the aisle, carry a bouquet, and hold up the bride's train?" "That's part of Package A," Chloe replied, wondering if Mercedes was trying to demean her job or if she had some other motive. "But it's nowhere near as simplistic as you infer. Sometimes I have to hold the dress up for the bride to use the restroom 5 minutes before curtain call." Mercedes let out a sudden laugh. "Spare me the gory details, but enlighten me on what else you do." "Is your request purely curiosity?" Chloe asked. "Or is this out-of-the-blue call an invitation to hang out with you at the beach this weekend? Because I could definitely pencil you in for that." Despite her cousin's businesslike tone, she gave a small snort. "Don't be so suspicious. But a day at the beach does sound heavenly. I've hardly slept for a week. My wedding is becoming downright evil to navigate." Typing on her laptop, Chloe logged onto her website to catch up on the latest email from the various brides she was currently managing. She had a secure interface so they could send email to one another that nobody else could access, like overly curious mothers of the bride, fiancés, or snooping best friends. "I understand more than you know," Chloe empathized. "1 week out and most of my brides are ready to bag the whole thing and elope, or bag the groom and go on a cruise by themselves." Mercedes gave a light, tinkling laugh. "You are so funny, Chloe. I'm honestly curious about your chosen career. After flunking out of your FBI training at Quantico—" "I did not flunk out," Chloe cut her off.